In today's lesson, we're going to see how we can put a scar on our person's hand using Premiere Pro and After Effects. I have a clip right here of someone's hand, and the most important thing about this effect is your video. You want to make sure that the scar has enough space on your hand. So right now the palm is facing towards the camera, so I have plenty of space to work with. But if the hands were like turned to the other side, then that will make things a little difficult for me. So I'm just going to grab a small bit of this video. Let's start here, just to save ourselves some track time. We're going to begin with something we can do in Premiere Pro, and then see how we can make it better by using After Effects. Let's zoom right in. I just made a duplicate from this, and I will lock my original layer. Now we're going to grab the scar, which is a simple JPEG, put it right above, scale it down so it can fit on your subject's hand. Click on motion and just grab it to put it where it should be. I'll put mine underneath the wrist. Then using the pen tool, I'm just gonna take the part that I need. Be sure to leave enough space from the scar and the points that you make because we're going to be feathering this out. Therefore, we want enough space. I'm at the beginning of my video, and what we're gonna do is to make sure that the points stay within the subject's hand. We're going to reduce from mask expansion and then add feather. So we really want a soft edge here. So once we click away, we have this really soft selection of our subject's skin. Now notice how the hand has shadow over here, because the light source is coming from the right, and the image is the opposite. The shadow is casted here, light source is here. So I just need to flip my image. We're gonna nest this first. Call it scar, add the horizontal flip effect so that we get it on the other side. Now we're just gonna grab it again with motion, pull it where it should be. And of course, rotate it so it looks good. So now I just need to match my scar shadow with the hand shadow. All right, so once we have this, we can click away and begin blending this in. Head over to the Lumetri workspace and grab the Lumetri color panel. Select your nest. Let's go down so we get a nice view and begin blending this out. So first we can just change the blending mode into multiply. This is going to burn it into the texture that's underneath. But as you can see, it's kind of brownish, which could work if you wanted to look like it's bruised, but it wouldn't make sense in this example. So using these sliders, I can like blend it in. First, we're going to begin by increasing the contrast. Lift the shadows all the way. It's already looking good. Lift the blacks. Increase the whites just by a touch. Highlights. Increase it there. And it's looking pretty good. So now it's nicely blended, but it's a little bit yellow and the skin tones are not matching. So you can try to like just remove from the saturation, but that will result in us losing the red color that the scar has. So let's turn this to 0 and instead use another tab. Turn this back to 100. Go to color wheels, and this right here is considered the midtone. So I want to first of all cool it down a bit. All right, and do the same thing with the shadow. That's looking pretty good. Now go to the creative section and remove from the vibrance. And there we are. So now the subject has a scar on their hand. I'm going to just do this. You can also use the curves adjustment if you'd like, but I'm going to leave mine like this so it's like an old scar. Go into your nest, extend the time so we can stretch it here. So once I have my scar, I'm going to go back to the editing panel and I got my scar right there. Now we can begin with the tracking. So like we said, we're going to try this with the Premiere Pro tracking capabilities and then try After Effects, which will make our work easier. But it's still doable in Premiere Pro, so let's begin with that. Make sure your playhead is at the start of your timeline. Now go to the Effect Controls, and we're just going to make a random mask around the scar. So it does not have to be perfect. And this actually gives us the opportunity to take out from the scar more than we did before. So before we had this large chunk, maybe now I can make my new mask over that and use feathering to just make it look softer. So close the mask, increase the feather, and now I have a better result. But now using this mask, I want to track it. So I'm going to attempt the track forward option. Usually this is not that good in a case like this, but we're just going to give it a try. So as you can see, the scar just jumped on the wrist. That's not good. So I'm going to hit Command-C, go back to the beginning, and I could try to mask this manually, but that is going to take forever. So what I'm going to do is to head over into After Effects, grab the scar and the bottom video, right click, and before we take it into After Effects, make sure that you remove the mask on your nested layer. Then we can just go in here, position the scar however we want. It might jump somewhere else, just pull it down. Use R on your keyboard to give it a good rotation. And the Lumetri color settings translated into After Effects. Let me just turn this down, zoom right in, and we can just make this work better. So I can see that it was flipped. Let's turn it the other way. So I can get my scar matching with the hand shadow. Double click on the scar and we can actually get rid of these extra bits. Grab this button down here, Region of Interest, and just select your scar. Go up to Composition, Crop Comp to Region of Interest. Now go into this, and we don't have to deal with that giant selection. Let me go right in, rotate this so the shadows match. And I'm going to place it right on these two moles that the original video had. This way I can just track it and make this look good. I'm going to match my scar around here. Click away, go into Lumetri color and just work with the settings more. I'm going to reduce the vibrance. And all right. Now on this, I can make another mask. So let's do what we did earlier, which was to go around the scar one more time and get rid of those extra bits. Feather and get a softer look. I can bring back some of my vibrance after the mask setting so that I get more of that red. Alright, so I have my scar, I got my video. Let's make the tracking data. Click away. Let's make our new null object, which will contain all of our tracking data. Select the video, go into your tracker panel, which is down here. If you're not seeing this, go to Window, Tracker. We're going to track the motion. Be sure that you're at the start of your timeline. track motion, grab these guys, and we're going to head down to the moles. Just lost them here. There we go. There's my first mole. Make this small. And this one too. Zoom right in. And make sure that it's just around this mole. You could go for both moles, but I'm going to stick with one. Once I have this, I'm going to edit target to tracking data, our null object. Hit OK and begin tracking. Once you're done, review the points. If at any point it jumps around, just reposition the box and track again. Go to the beginning of your timeline and we're going to hit apply. All right, so I got all of these data onto my tracking data null object. Now I just need to simply connect my scar layer to my tracking data. And that way my scar is going to remain on the hand at all times. And near the end where the tracking point gets lost, you can see that the scar just hangs around. We can actually cut the video here and not get this problem. If you want to make sure that your scar stays within, maybe you can use one of these lines as your tracker points. So now let's save this. Command S, Control S on Windows, and go back to Premiere Pro. So there's my scar. It's looking different. I'm going to render this, and then we can take a look at our subject and their new scar. So now my subject has a scar, and it stays perfectly in place. So Premiere Pro does have some tracking stuff, but it really doesn't help when you have a situation like this. So you can just use After Effects for the tracking and do the rest of your lumetri adjustments inside Premiere Pro. So I hope you guys enjoyed this lesson. Let's move on to our next one.